What is up, Coug fans? We are here.
Can't tell by the music.
Space Jam? No, we're talking about Shooty Hoops. We're talking about
Shooty Hoops.
The former Flash Slamma Jamma. We are talking about Houston Cougar men's freaking basketball, ladies and gentlemen.
Talking basketball.
Oh my gosh. Basketball Jones.
Basketball.
It's your boy Harold Eason.
Yeah.
Here in the studio with the one, the only, old man.
Timothy Hanna on the road, still in beautiful Southern Louisiana for a couple days.
The suck. And
it's not too bad. Lafayette's not too bad.
as with last episode, as we mentioned before, our man Jameson Widener is off celebrating his B-Day. So, congratulations. You are almost an old man. And
That's true.
we're going to talk about some basketball. I am pumped.
Yeah.
Man. This is...
No, I think so too.
There's a lot to be excited about for this basketball season. You know, despite the fact that we're at TSU, this is probably one of the better teams that we're going to have seen from the Houston Cougars since, Penders, honestly.
And truth be told, you're not the only one. I mean, there's a lot of guys on the online forums that are excited. There's a lot of guys on TV that, like Reed Geddes, he is very excited about us, and he knows our team up one side and down the other.
Yeah.
So if those guys are excited and we're excited, this should be a good squad. I think we could probably get 20 wins, and if we don't stub our toe and add a conference like we did last year on those two games, we could be playing, for a play-in spot for one of those at-large bids. Maybe even sneak up and win the conference like we did back in 2010. You never know. It's basketball.
Agree.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, in that year we weren't near. That was kind of like a UConn in the Big East. Bowl game. That was kind of an off-kilter sort of situation for us. But this year, I think we are a legitimate bubble team. Everyone pretty much online is putting us as a bubble team, and there's a lot of things to be really excited about. So I'll go ahead and let you lead off on this one.
Okay. Well, let's real quick. Let's talk a little bit about what transpired since we've picked up with Shooty Hoops. And quick recap of last year. We were picked to finish fourth, and we actually finished third. So kudos to Sampson and staff. We had a couple injuries, and a couple guys really step up and make some big strides. Unfortunately, we were knocked out of the second round of the conference tournament by UConn. We did make the NIT as a 3 seed, but that game, I had a bad feeling about it going in, and UConn had this one really big dude, and they just kind of manhandled us, and we lost, sadly. But we got a taste. We did get a. Yeah, we did, and we got a taste of the TSU arena. I think although I'm not hyped on it, I think it's going to be fine for this year. I mean, it's only 1 year that we're going to be there anyways.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be excited about here, man. I mean, last year we got to really look at it as last year was kind of a preview of what the future of this basketball team is. We'll go into this, most of with the exception of maybe one really, really, really important key player and, some okay guys, we didn't really lose that much, in my opinion. And we really got to see the young guys step up, and now those guys are the leaders on our team. So the fact that we were picked to finish fourth and we finished third, we were good enough, honestly, in my opinion, to finish second. I don't think that we were the first best team in the conference, but I definitely think in the regular season there's no reason why we couldn't have finished in second. And a lot of those games just came down to absolutely shooting ourselves in the foot and playing dumb basketball, honestly. Right.
For those that don't know and have been living under a rock, we played our last game in the Hofheinz Pavilion last year. Tillman Fertitta donated $20 million to the university, so we will now be renaming it the Fertitta Center.
Was it not 40? I thought it was 40.
I thought it was 20 million. I thought it was just 20 million, if I'm not mistaken. And then there's like another 20 million that's coming from other people for donating, $1 million here, $2 million here, so on and so forth.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We'll be playing every game at TSU, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump from U of H. They will be doing 2 buses there and back from U of H. You can park in the lot right next to the club level entrance. Except for 2 of the games or 3 of the games, we'll be playing at Toyota Center. But it's going to be really kind of it'll be a little different playing there versus playing at TSU.
Sure.
We have 14 total games at TSU. And what has been said is that we are allegedly going to play TSU next year in football in exchange for not paying a single dime to play at TSU, which is pretty nice of them, to be honest. I mean, there's not a lot of universities that could get away with that, of playing in a basketball arena close to them. And 100%. So thank you. So thank you to TSU for letting us borrow their facilities for 14 games.
Yeah, man. I think TSU will be super excited for concessions, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be happy about that. I'm honestly kind of surprised that they did that, but I think what they're really looking for is the TV revenue coming in football, and that's why they're willing to sort of extend that olive branch and make some money off concessions in the meantime, because we'll probably bring the exact same amount of people or more, obviously, to their stadium than they would. So that's exciting. And honestly, I am pumped with a capital P about the Fertitta Center, dude. I don't know. You guys can all check online. There's a really cool, as they've done with the indoor practice facility. They've got a live cam, and the stadium is going to be absolutely outrageous.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful. I think you can see the webcam, like you said, on the inside, and just the transformation. You can actually, if you drive by down Cullen and Elgin, not Cullen and Holman, they are literally ripping off the sides of the building and replacing all that. I think it's going to look really, honestly, it'll be top notch. I think that'll be the last. I think it'll be the last major cog that we need to show when the new TV contracts come out and they start looking around. Maybe we do have to expand, saying who do we want to go after that's invested in their programs. And you can't nix off U of H because we have the brand new football. We've got the brand new basketball. We've got 2 practice facilities. I mean, the infrastructure will be there, and there should be no excuses for either head coach, whoever that may be in the coming years, to have any excuse of why we cannot be attracting top players across the state and greater Southwest region of getting players on campus to help us compete for championships like we should be doing almost every year in and year out.
I 100% agree, and it's one of those things. I've had that exact same sort of conversation with a lot of people, is that UH is really setting themselves apart from the rest of the G5 with these facilities. We don't have the biggest sort of football stadium, but guess what? What's going to get those fans there is you got to help with. It's got to be about the recruiting. And when a guy comes in, and U of H has been a great football team off and on for the last 10 to 15 years, and that's with Robertson Stadium. And now that we have our new stadium, now that we're bringing in the amazing new indoor practice facility, and the same with basketball, I'm so glad that we have our basketball practice facility. It is really already showing that it's bringing some really good guys here. We saw that this week. We're recording on what's today, the 13th of November, Monday, post the first game. So we'll recap that in a little bit. But you just walk by there. One of the things, they added up a couple of showcase boxes on the second floor, walking by that practice facility. It's like Oregon level, dude. It looks awesome. And
I agree.
If you're a guy in Houston and you want to be able to stay close to your family, and think about all the ballers that we have in Houston. It's absolutely insane, and I'm really excited. That's why I think you take a look at it, and all these new freshmen or potential freshmen that we signed, they're all young and from Houston, and as you can sort of see, the trend is for Kelvin Sampson to go out and find JUCO guys for positions that we really need, and then freshmen for the future. So
well, and that actually kind of ties into what we were about to talk about.
Yeah.
With all these facility enhancements, you're getting players and coaches who want to be here. We actually hired Quantus White, who played under Coach Sampson. He was one of the recruiters for Western Kentucky, who helped them get a top 10 recruiting class. And he actually helped bring in a couple guys who were top 100 national players who have signed with U of H to play for us next year.
Yep.
And it's that chicken and the egg thing. Do you get the players to improve the facilities, or do you get the facilities to improve the players?
Yep.
And I think we've already settled that debate by going, We're going all in on the facilities so we can get the players. So it's all a happy marriage, and it just continues to grow and get better over the years.
Definitely.
And so that actually leads into our next segment of let's talk about the players. First off, just real quick, for those that don't know, these are the guys that we lost. We lost Ford and Xavier Dupree. He played 2 years. I think he just was more depth than anything else. Not a whole lot of points and average per minutes. But again, he did provide depth.
Yeah, and, Xavier Dupree, in my opinion, this guy had some freak intangibles. The guy was huge. When he stepped on foot on campus, he looked like he was built like LeBron James. And I remember seeing him in an exhibition game, and I was like, this guy is going to be legit. And unfortunately, it just didn't pan out. It's one of those where you see a guy, and you're like, wow, this could be like so much. And, he had some okay games, but really, didn't get the playing time. If you ask me, I think he could have been a really good asset in the post, but we sort of went some other directions. And, I'm not able to see what the coaches see in practice, but I am able to see what, ends up happening on the basketball court, and some people will talk about in a second. So, next.
All right. Next, we lost Chicken Knowles, which was a fan favorite. The guy played all 4 years here in Houston. He played in a school record 72 games, had 21 and almost 22 minutes a game, almost 8 points a game for his career, and had 137 blocks. He actually is tied for fourth in Houston career by playing in 126 games.
That's
and his best season was his sophomore year. He started every game, had almost 10 points per game, 37 3-pointers, and over 100 defensive rebounds and 42 blocks. So his real big season was his sophomore year. He had some injuries junior and senior year that kind of hamstringed him. But, I mean, I think we're going to miss Chicken a lot more going forward than we realize as of right now.
I'm actually going to humbly disagree with you.
Okay.
I do think that, Chicken Knowles is a fan favorite. He's a nice guy, very, very humble man. And actually is going off, and I believe he just signed with one of the G League teams. So he's going out there and making something happen. I see him at all the football games walking around. It's hard to miss him. But I think that our stable of big guys is better than we've ever been. And
I agree. I agree.
Chicken was a guy who would come out and ball, and then it would be silent. And love Chicken Knowles, but I wish we just could have seen more of Chicken.
Yeah.
No,
that happens.
There were a lot of games where he just didn't even play.
Yeah. No, I know.
He'd be in there for 2 or 3 seconds, get 2 fouls, Sampson pull him out. And so, you're right. We will all miss him. But I think we're set up really well this year to work around that.
Okay. Our next player that we're going to be missing is Bertrand. He played in every game in his senior season. He led the team with blocks per game with almost 1.5. He averaged 10 minutes a game. And really, truthfully, in my opinion, he just kind of provided size and depth. That's about it.
Yeah, this is a guy that I really wish we played more. I was more impressed by him with the time that he spent in the game than probably any of the guys that we lost, with the exception of Damian Dotson. I think minutes-wise, he should have been, 15, 17 to 20 minutes every single game, and I think our season would have been a whole lot different. Personally, I've been a proponent for Bert for the last 2 seasons, and for whatever reason, he really just didn't get as much playing time. So that is definitely something we're going to be missing. But like I mentioned, post-wise, I think we're set up really well this year. Agreed.
The next probably the biggest hole in the roster that I think we're going to be able to fill, but we will miss him, is Mr. Damian Dotson, a.k.a. Dot. He was an American Athletic first-teamer, National Association for Basketball Coaches All-District second team. He got drafted second round in Knicks. He started every game his senior year. He was 10th in the nation in three-point percentage. He made a three-pointer in 32 straight games, which spanned over 2 seasons. And he averaged 32 minutes a game in his career and almost 15 and a half, almost 16 points per game. I think I think someone can step up and take his spot, but as of right now, that's a huge hole to fill in your roster.
Oh, I totally agree. Damian Dotson, in my opinion, was the most prolific player in the conference last year. Rob Gray, obviously leading scorer, but I think intangibles-wise, Damian Dotson just has a freak of a shot. It's beautiful. He reminds me a lot of Ray Allen in a lot of ways. And, I think that Damian Dotson definitely will be missed, but based on how much more well-rounded this team is, we won't have to rely on a guy necessarily as much as we did at Damian Dotson. Damian Dotson is killing it on the Knicks right now. He's playing
absolutely
as a second rounder. You normally go and you play in the D League for a little bit, or you go to practice, but they're not having you travel. And this guy is going around and he's honestly kicking ass. He's already performing just as well, if not better than our man over in Orlando right now. Why is his name
Simmons?
Gerard Simmons. So definitely going to miss Dotson. We don't have Dotson here anymore, and I wish him nothing but the best in the NBA. So hopefully he can put on for the Cougs.
Last but not least, center Kyle Meyer, which I know was your fan favorite, Mr. Harold Eason. He played in all 32 games his senior year. He averaged 15.5 minutes per game, only 2.4 points per game, about three rebounds or so per game. And truthfully, again, I think that was more size and depth is what he provided instead of, blocks, rebounds, and points per game.
Yeah, unfortunately, we kind of struggled in the post this past year. And, luckily we have a lot of guys to really, in the most polite way, really step up and do something in the post instead of just getting walked all over. And I think that's what we're going to see. And, I'm absolutely pumped. I hope nothing but the best for good old big country. But I don't think we're going to be stressing that he's gone right now.
Agreed. Well, let's move on to guys that we return, and we return a bevy of dudes. Like you said earlier, a lot of guys that provided depth and we're playing as young guys.
Yeah.
We've got a good mix of old and young, and I think the first one you have to mention right out the gate is guard. He's a senior, if I'm not mistaken, Rob Gray Jr.
Yep.
He was all AAC first team for 2 years. He was NABC second team. He was already a preseason first team pick. He was American last year with 20.5 points per game, 32 minutes per game. He was the 12th fastest player in U of H history to get over 1,000 career points. So, truthfully, I am glad this guy is back because I think he's going to be – he was a captain last year. He's going to be our number one go-to guy this year again.
Oh, I am freaking so hype on Rob Gray. Like, you have absolutely no clue. So, Rob Gray, redshirt senior, coming in. This dude is the top 40 players in NCAA right now.
Yeah.
By multiple different publications. The guy is a baller. He's going to go out. He's going to ball for us. I don't even want to think what the score would have been on Monday if he had been able to play.
Oh, absolutely.
Here's a little insight for you guys if you don't know the entire backstory. Basically, Rob Gray, sometime during the summer, was back at home in North Carolina where he's from, and someone paid his $5 admittance fee for a church league basketball game, and the NCAA said that was a violation and that he needed to be suspended for the first game. It's okay because we were playing McNeese, and we still beat them by like 25 points, but it's absolutely stupid. I mean, it even got coverage like on major articles. I remember seeing Jonah Goldberg, who's a huge political commentator, ended up commenting about it, and he's got like 400,000 like people that follow him. So that was
even
overall.
Even Jay Billis even jumped in it too and said this is ridiculous that he had to sit out for a game.
Yeah, it's absolutely stupid. I mean, Rob Gray Jr. is going to be the glue that makes U of H a good team or a great team. He comes off, if we need him to lead at point, he can. He's obviously traditionally a shooting guard, but the guy's going to come in and ball, and he's going to score us a lot of points. And in a lot of these situations, I think we could definitely win a lot of games without him this year, but we're going to win. People are going to be really surprised how good we are, guys.
Agreed.
With him, we're not going to have to rely as much on Rob Gray, which is good. But gosh, he's going to ball out. We're going to be excited, and his hair is better than last year. It's definitely different. but it is better than last year.
I'm not a fan of the man bun,
I'll
but that's
take
just
the
me.
man bun over the poof, personally.
No, I'll take the poof.
But
next we have Devin Davis, who we haven't seen a whole lot from him just yet, but I think he's that guy that has a huge ceiling. And if he could just avoid the injury bug like he's had for the last season, he only had 13 starts and played in 20 games last year.
Definitely.
Only 5.5 rebounds and 8.5 points per game when he did play. But truthfully, this is one of those guys that's like, man, if he could just stay healthy and get out there and get 15, minutes per game or more, wow, that could be a scary combo between him and Rob Gray.
Oh, absolutely. Devin Davis, when I saw him in the very beginning of this last year, looked like an absolute freak. This last game he ended up playing pretty well, and we'll get to that later. But the guy, from everybody that I know that's been able to, in person watch the exhibitions, Devin Davis looks like he's back. Obviously, he had multiple injuries this past year. He had that freak dunk accident, I believe, at Arkansas where he ripped his finger open, and then he had a foot injury also, like the next game. And before that, every single game, I believe we were undefeated up until the point where he basically had that finger issue at Arkansas where we lost. So Devin Davis is going to be our most important big man. Obviously, he's traditionally a 4 guy. He's going to be our most prolific 4 guy this year, and we're going to need him to stay healthy. Because we do need big guys. He's only 6'6", but he's freaking huge. And anybody who's seen the guy walk around, I'm really excited for him.
Mm-hmm. Next, we have a very fan favorite, guy who was awarded a scholarship last year as a walk-on, Mr. Wes Vanbeck, a.k.a. Mr. Van Buckets.
Yeah,
he finished 4th on the team last year with only 7.5 points per game, 2.5 rebounds per game, and 51 assists on the year. But he played in every single game on the year and had 5 starts. So I think this guy is going to be a huge kind of piece to the puzzle to make this team work this year.
Oh, definitely. Wes Vanbeck, in a lot of ways, is kind of like Kyle Postma coming off the bench, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
He comes in and changes that dynamic. So, in my opinion, I don't know what he looks like after the after this offseason, but I can tell you that he has gained a lot of weight. The boy is up to 195 now. When he was skinny, 2 or 3 years ago, he was getting boss hogged around. Now, I believe it's Coach Alan Bishop is just putting these dudes to work. Whatever he is doing is, what kind of like what Yancey McKnight was doing for us on the other side. If you don't already, go ahead and follow him on Instagram. Like, he's got our boys in the weight room. He was, I believe, a football strength and conditioning guy for Utah State. And so he's taking a lot of these, really football-focused athletic sort of lifts and putting them on these guys. They could have been totally doing that the whole time, but guess what? Now we know what they're doing because it's all over his Instagram. And they're all in the best shape that they've ever been in. So kudos to them. But, yeah, I think Wes Vanbeck is going to come in as a 6-man, like we've always seen him, and really just kill it. Because basically he comes in when Rob Gray is out, and he fills that spot and does it really well. He plays point pretty well as well whenever we need him. But that's not his true role, and that would be the next guy's role that I'll go ahead and let you get into.
Yeah, next one of the guys we have to talk about is Mr. Galen Robinson Jr. He finished second in the AAC with 4.5, almost 5 assists per game. He started 28 games and played in all 32. He has posted in 2 years 100 assists each and every year, and that's the 18th player in school history to do that. So I think, again, Galen Robinson is going to be another guy that's going to be a huge piece of our puzzle of having a very successful year, honestly.
Oh, definitely. Galen has basically been, he's been playing since he was a freshman, and I am so excited to see how he's sort of transformed this year. And one way or another, there's kind of like a Galen kind of dropped the ball on the last 2 games for the last 2 seasons that we've had. But overall, I think he's going to be much improved.
Agreed.
He as well has gained some weight and speed from what I've heard, and he's going to be our main point. So whenever Galen's in running the ball, he's going to be rocking. If he's not, they're going to switch it up, and they're going to move the ball around with Wes and with Rob Gray. So when we need he also plays great defense. So I think it's hard for me to say what I need more from him. He's a assist monster, throwing assists all over the place. But I'm just I don't. It's hard for me to say too much because he's played so well for the last couple of years. We know what to expect. I would like to see some more. I would like to see him scoring more.
Gotcha. I agree. One of the last two guys that we do need to bring up, Mr. Armani Brooks. He was a top 10 freshman in Cougar history with 3 points made, attempted, and percentage on the year last year.
Impressive.
Played in 28 games with 3 late starts towards the end of the year. He averaged 12 minutes, almost 4.5 points a game, and 2.5 rebounds. I think this guy had a monster night the other night. He could not miss the other night.
Yes.
I think he finished with like 22 points. So I think, with those 4 guys right there, that's a lot coming back already. We haven't even touched on guys that we added who are going to be playing this year and providing minutes early. So, hey, Brooks, I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do this year.
Oh, I'm so excited. So he as well has put on some weight. Last year we saw a very, very young looking, very raw Armani Brooks coming in, but he went out and proved that he can shoot. He's got a beautiful shot. I'm willing to say that he has the most beautiful shot on the team. And in my opinion, he's going to be sitting in there, moving around in that 2 and 3 spots. So, if we're looking at, these guys that are coming in, and we're not even talking about the new guys, if I was to pick a starting lineup just from our returners, you'd see something, I would love to see Wes Vanbeck, Galen, and Rob Gray, Armani Brooks, and Galen all in at the same time. So that I think is at our moment, from what I know, our most tangible start. But I think he's also playing the same thing. He was doing Rob Gray's goal this last time. So it'll be interesting to see how Armani and Wes Vanbeck sort of switch back and forth, and how the playing time in the 2 and 3 spots sort of starts to mold. So I'll be really excited about that. But yeah, I think he got 22 points in this game on Friday. So the dude's already thrown up, and I'm pumped about Armani Brooks. I've been hype on him since his first game here, and watching him in scrimmages, it was awesome.
I agree. And last but not least, one of the guys that we returned, but he didn't play last year, is Valentin. Oh my God, Sanyomi, something like that.
Valentin Sanyomi, I believe.
Sanyomi. He did sit out last year to redshirt, but he chose us over K-State, Mississippi State, Temple, and Middle Tennessee. He's 6'8", 240. That's a lot of size right there for a guy. So obviously, I think he's going to provide a lot of depth. I don't know about what his potential can be this year, but to me, that screams size and depth right there.
Depth exactly is what I'm thinking. So, Kansas State, Mississippi State, or at least, Mississippi State's all right, but Kansas State is a huge team for him to pick us over. He had an injury this last year, but I'm really excited to see what we get from him. Like you mentioned, he's a big body. We've got more size and height on this team than I have seen in our team in ages. So we don't know a whole lot. What I have heard is that in practice, while he was playing and recovering from the injury, he was looking really good. The guy comes from Nigeria as well, so he's our only guy who is not from America, which is kind of neat. But, yes, like you said, we don't know a whole lot yet. I'd love to see it. I hope he's not another Xavier Dupree sort of situation. So,
right.
That being said,
that's everybody
we had.
Yeah, that being said, let's talk about the guys that we added. And I think this is going to be huge for this year. Coach Sampson went out there and signed a lot of really good guys, and they made it to campus. First one you have to mention is Chris Harris. He's a center, 6'10", 240 pounds, probably needs to put on a little bit more weight, and I'm sure that he will throughout the year. He did play at San Jack for 1 year, only averaging almost 6 points per game and 6.5 rebounds per game. He's a 57% shooter from the field, but I think his potential is way up there in terms of what he can do now that he's on campus.
Yeah, so Chris Harris was a guy we were supposed to pick up a couple years ago, and for whatever reason, he didn't qualify, wasn't
Yeah, I think he didn't qualify is what it was.
And so he went and sat out a year did not play, and then last year played at San Jac. We now know San Jac no longer has a basketball team, I believe, as of this year.
Which is a travesty.
They don't have any
travesty.
sports, correct?
No, they still have baseball, and they still have softball, but nothing else.
Gotcha.
Nothing else.
You're right, though. St. Jack's always been a school, especially with baseball, that is able to crank out guys, and this guy is an absolute monster. He is going to be our probably, starting guy as far as being out on the floor. He only got 6 minutes in this past game, but look to see a lot from him because in those 6 minutes he got 5 points, so pretty impressive from him. Just gonna have to stay, out of the fouls, and the guy can score.
Yeah.
He's athletic, he's big, and this is the kind of guy we have been praying for, guys, to be in the post, and it is so exciting, and I cannot wait to see more of what he's got.
Yeah. Next, we picked up Mike Adueme.
Yeah,
that's that's how you pronounce it. He's 6'4", 210. He was a 3-star from Rivals.
Yeah.
Picked us over a bevy full of peers, and he was an all-district 5A first-teamer last year. So huge pickup by Coach Sampson and the staff going after a top Texas guy right there.
Definitely. So I believe he comes out of Lake Ridge up in Mansfield. And Mansfield teams have always had a pretty good basketball. The Dallas is completely stacked with, athletes. And the fact that he played that well, it's sort of like the saying, you can pick up a 3-star recruit D1 offer on any corner in the city of Houston. Same thing goes up in DFW. He didn't really have a lot of time. He missed a 3. He was only in for 2 minutes. I think that's probably because Sampson was not happy with the shot that he took. I wasn't able to catch it. I ended up working an event that last night, so I did end up missing the game. But I'm excited to have him, man. Like you mentioned, depth. The kid's a freshman, so he's going to come in, and this is a guy I'm really excited to see evolve. When we're getting guards, guys, that are 6'4", start getting excited, because especially 3-stars that are picking us. Okay. You want to see the bigger height, because when you start looking at, besides the anomalies, when you're anomalies. Good Lord, I can't talk. When you're talking about the Kentuckys, the Dukes, the North Carolinas, their point guards aren't like 6'1". They're this height.
Gotcha.
And so I am very excited to start seeing this trend of bigger guards come in. And I'm really excited about him. I think he's definitely going to be a solid 2 and 3 guy. I'm not sure how many minutes he's going to get this year, but it's going to be interesting that so far I don't think anybody is redshirted.
Okay. All right. Next, huge pickup, in my opinion, probably one of the biggest ones that we're going to have, one of two. Corey Davis Jr. He's a guard, 6'1", 190, picked U of H over Zona, Oklahoma State, New Mexico, and LSU. Was an JUCO All-American first team, averaged 17.5 points per game, 3.5 assists, almost 3.5 rebounds per game, and 1.5 steals per game. But this dude can shoot almost 50% from the field, 50% from the three-point line, and a 78% free throw shooter. That dude's going to score a ton of points this year.
Oh, easy. And he did this first game. He scored 12 points, 5 assists already. Galen's going to have to start getting worried because this guy is leading to come in and sort of take the spot. So in a perfect world, this is something I like to see. I want to see him he got 2 rebounds, 12 points, 5 assists for 26 minutes, so he's playing just about as much as everybody else. Galen was only in there for 13, so it's looking like Galen may be the backup behind Corey Davis. But what that does is that excites me because, you've seen Galen Robinson going in and, basically being the lead guy, and it looked like he kind of got a little comfortable. I'm excited to see him work on his play because, I believe Corey Davis does come in as a senior, and let me double check on that. He's a junior. He comes in as a junior. But overall, this guy's going to be a freak. And when I mentioned 6'1", 6'2 guys, this guy's as good as it gets across the country. And we're very, very lucky to have him.
Mm-hmm. The next guy is a grad transfer for Nora Zana.
Yeah.
6'6", 240, transferred from LIU Brooklyn. He played 32 games last year with 30 starts, averaged almost 10 points per game, almost 9 rebounds per game, and is 62% from the field, including 15 double-doubles last year. He's not great behind the arc, but he is is great in the field, so I will gladly take a big dude that can score and shoot and go inside the paint, truthfully, in my opinion.
Oh, definitely. We need it. He's got decent height on him, but this is your prototypical big man four guy. He's 240, 6'6". He's pretty much a beast, honestly. If you guys have taken a look at him, he's a big dude, and we're going to be really I can't say that he's necessarily going to be a starter for us. I would like to see what happens. If I remember correctly, yes, he's the guy that I was thinking of, came in as a transfer and as a senior. So we only have 1 year of eligibility. But be excited to see him come in and be a solid bench guy.
Yeah.
In a good way. Because, guys, our bench is like way better than some of our starters have been in the last couple of years.
Absolutely.
In my opinion.
Next, we got a transfer in Gabe Grant. He's a forward, 6'4", 220, comes from Three Rivers Community College, chose us over West Virginia, Wichita State, Missouri, and UAB, averaged 15 points per game, almost 7 rebounds per game, and had 28 double-doubles last year. So, again, that's another big guy who can score and can have that size and truly is going to provide a lot of depth for us, like you just said, from our bench. I don't know if he's a starter per se, but I think he can come off the bench and score us, 5-10 points if he wants to.
Definitely. So he comes out of Chicago, and I think we all know Chicago, New York. Those big-time northern cities always produce fantastic basketball players, and this is a guy that I think you can see sort of play a very similar role to Gerard Stiggers as in the past. Sort of the same role that Dotson did as well. But, we're not going to have to rely on him as well. I'm not so sure that he's going to be starting. But, it's going to be interesting to see how he plays out. He did have 17 minutes in this last game, so he's playing a lot of minutes already and ended up getting 2 assists, 5 rebounds, and 6 points. So, he's scrappy.
Yeah.
A guy who's in there who's 6'4" and is getting that many rebounds is a scrappy guy that I want to be able to see. So, and 2 offensive rebounds as well, which is something that Kelvin Sampson harps on hard. So it'll be interesting to see. And as this season goes on, I'm really excited to see him.
Okay. Next, we picked up freshman forward Cedric Ali Jr., 6'5", 235. I think this guy is going to be more of a future player. I don't know how much of an impact he'll have this year, but he did choose U of H over A&M, Tech, and Boise. He was named 2017 Mr. Basketball by the Texas Association for Basketball Coaches. He was also a finalist for the Guy B. Lewis Award, and he was an all-Greater Houston first-teamer. So this right here, bam, you've got a top Houston guy who chose to stay home and is going to provide a lot of not only depth, but I think a lot of great stuff for us in the years to come, to be honest.
Oh, definitely. He's definitely going to get some minutes. But this is not a guy that we're necessarily needing in his position right now this year. I definitely think he can come in and play ball, though. He had 10 minutes, didn't have any points this game. But, they want to give these guys in these sort of quote-unquote lesser opponents time to come in and play. From what I've heard, he's kind of raw and needs to sort of acclimate. But when you're a freaking Mr. Basketball for Houston, you're a freaking baller. And also, he has red Lil Yachty-like dreads, which are pretty awesome. So, he's a north side dude. He's 6'5". This is going to be our, 3-4 guy in the future. He probably needs to put on some weight. But I'm really going to be excited about seeing him as he develops. And that's why we have our practice facility. So these guys can get good, eat, get big. And I've already seen pictures of him that Bishop put up there, and he's a freaking monster. Yeah.
Next guy we brought on is Bri Hombre. He's 6'8", 250, a forward, transferred from Saddleback Junior College.
Ooh, big boy.
He picked us over West Virginia, Arizona State, and Wazoo. He averaged almost 12.5 points a game, almost 7 rebounds a game. He's a 63% shooter from the field, and he had 20 games with double digits. So I think he's going to provide immediate depth, guy off the bench that can go out and score, and he's not going to get pushed around at all.
I 100% agree, and I think we have found ourselves our starter. So obviously the dude's 250 pounds and 6'8". You're looking at a J.J. Richardson type of size guy. This guy's massive. and went in there. This past game, he had 23 minutes played, was 3 for 7, scored 8 points total, a block, and 10 rebounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll take that any day of the week, honestly.
So this is why we bring guys like this in, so they can have immediate impact. We keep going through here and talking about, how this big guy can do awesome. This big guy can do awesome. We got a lot of depth. And I'm really excited. And I think he's going to be with him and Devin Davis in at the same time. That's going to be hard to get past.
Yeah, I agree. The next guy that we picked up, he's a freshman forward, Fabian White Jr., 6'7", 210, 3-star, picked us over TCU, SMU, and Florida Gulf Coast and UTSA. He was a finalist for the Guy V. Lewis Award. Another all Greater Houston first-teamer. He was the 21 6A MVP and the TABC 6A All-State and All-Region. So, I think he's another guy. He's going to be a little raw, kind of just like who we were just talking about, Cedric Ali Jr.
Yeah.
He did play some meaningful minutes, I know, but I'm really excited about him in the future and what he can do once he's in our system.
Definitely.
And starts practicing every day, eating every day, just getting bigger with that practice facility that we have. Yeah,
he definitely does need to put on some weight. When you're 6'7" and that skinny, we need you to put some meat on, dude. But like you just said, I mean, the guy's 6'7", 210, 3-star. He freaking knows how to score. You get pumped. I don't know what the TABC 6A All-State thing is, but I didn't know the Tobacco Alcohol Bureau was covering.
No, fool. No.
I'm kidding.
Texas.
I'm kidding. But
okay.
yeah, I mean, this is going to be a guy. These are the players that Coach Sampson is coming in and recruiting for longevity, that we come in and keep. And I'll take all Houston first teamers all day. And when you've got 2 of them on the squad, you've got Corey Davis as well as Chris Harris Jr. that just both played together. That's good chemistry. That's awesome.
Yeah, no,
it's these kind of
totally
things
agree.
that, keeping the good guys who are freshmen from Houston is really going to help us. The next guy that we have as a freshman isn't from Houston, but still, you want to go and tell us a little about the boy?
Yeah, Caleb Barudu, he's 6'7", 210, averaged 13.8 points per game. He's a 65% free throw shooter, averages about 12 rebounds per game, and he's 60% from the field. I think this guy's another project guy.
Yeah.
He's going to need to have some time to get bigger, get more, what's the word I'm looking for, physically imposing. I mean, I think this guy can be he can be good down the road, but he's going to need some time here to make all that happen.
Yeah, I definitely just, from what I know, I think this guy's a project guy. I see him, it looks like he's probably one of Coach Bishop's favorites. He's all over the website all the time, but I think that, that's a testament to, us really focusing on getting these guys bigger and more athletic. And, this, like you mentioned, he is probably a project guy. He comes out of Michigan as a freshman coming down here. I don't personally know the recruiting tie to who picked him up. And honestly, I don't think he's on scholarship either.
No, I think he is a walk-on.
He is a walk-on, but this is the kind of guy, you want to have on your team. I believe his dad is a coach somewhere, and at least in high school. And I'm excited to see how we can work with him. And the fact that he can actually shoot the ball is awesome. So he's kind of a Kirk Van Slyke type player for those.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, he just need to put on some weight.
So, you're much smarter than I am when it comes to this stuff. Who are the starting 5 that you're going to see, barring any injury, all things being perfect and equal? Who are our starting 5 so people can know going into these next couple out-of-conference games?
This is tough, but if I had to pick I don't necessarily like to look at starting 5s. I like to look at a finishing 5. So the last 5 minutes of the game, game's on the line, who do you have in?
Who do you want in when the game's on the line? Okay, exactly. That's even better. I like that.
Because starting 5, Wes Vanbeck isn't going to start, but he's going to play a ton of minutes. So, I think that puts him on there. So, of a culmination of both two teams, I think we're going to have, obviously, Rob Gray is going to be starting.
Yep.
At the post, we're going to have, at the 5, we're going to have Brady. Davis is going to be at the 4. And then I think you're probably going to see Chris Davis bringing up the ball, and Armani Brooks. Wes Vanbeck is a legit dude, but I think Armani Brooks is going to be hot fire this year, and we're really going to see that development from him from being just a freshman to being a college basketball baller. So that's who I will go with as of today. Granted, I didn't get to watch the first game. I just worked too hard, guys. And but folks, you're going to be surprised by. I think you're going to be really surprised by Chris Harris. I think we're going to be really surprised by Gabe Grant and Fabian White. So
I agree.
Those are going to be some awesome dudes, and hopefully, one of the ones I just really want to really harp on. I really would like to see some more productivity out of Galen.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, with that said, that's going to wrap up all the guys that we picked up and returned. We're going to jump into the conference outlook.
Yeah.
So the preseason poll picked U of H to finish 6th out of the conference. I think that's a little low, but that's fine. I'll take the chip on the shoulder.
Yeah.
They did pick Cincinnati to finish first, which is deservedly so. They finished first last year. They got 7 first-place votes. They returned 4 out of their 5 top scorers. They won 30 games last year. So you have to give them the nod. I mean, I don't see anybody else that could go up there and jump up and bite them.
Well, I think the rankings for overall across the country are saying a little differently. Now,
right.
The votes are saying – go ahead.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say is, and I know what you're leading into is, for those that don't know, we added Wichita State to kind of balance. We added Navy for football only, so we added Wichita State and everything else. So they come in. Everybody knows the Shockers and quote unquote shock the world. We will be sending our lawyers. Don't you worry to trademark that name, but it's okay. We'll let you have it for now.
Yeah.
They do return all 5 starters, and they won 31 games last year. They received 5 first place votes. The thing about it is it's going to be a little bit of adjustment for them going from the Missouri Valley to the AAC.
Sure.
I think that's why they did not get the nod in first place. I think that they're going to do very, very well. I would not be shocked to see them compete for first and second or third in the conference this year. They did win the Missouri Valley from 2014 to 2017, so that says something. They made it out of the first round for 5 straight years. They were in the Sweet 16 in 2015. And the Final Four in 2013, and they kept their head coach Greg Marshall. He is 257 and 89 in 10 years. Woo. I mean, that's legit.
Yes.
That says something. I mean, that is constantly winning every single year. So maybe they're getting a little bit of disrespect being number 2, but I think it's more of a let's wait and see.
Definitely.
I mean, again, I think it's hard to say they're going to come in and beat Cincinnati automatically because Cincinnati's damn good.
I agree. And to the tune of what we were talking about with the rankings, so as of today, the 13th of November, I think that's a poem. But we have Wichita State up at number 7, and then Cincinnati is at 12 in the AP top 25, and then in the USA Today poll, we have Wichita State at 8, and then Cincinnati in a respective 13. Along with you, think that Cincinnati is probably going to end up winning the conference. I think, they both have a little bit of some stuff to work out with. Cincinnati is going to be playing, I think, at Northern Kentucky University or something like that.
Yeah, because they're also renovating their facility as well.
Yeah, they're a team without a home, kind of like we are. And then Wichita State is coming from so-so conference and coming to play with the big boys, essentially. The American Athletic Conference, in my opinion, is definitely a P5 or P6, whatever, basketball conference. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We have some freaking ballers in this league. And just like in baseball, we compete and show up. So I think both of these teams are guys that can make it out of the first round and probably will. And it's just going to be able to, see, how well can the rest of the teams in the conference play to hopefully find a berth in the tournament. So next at number 3.
We're going to run down based off of votes for the conference.
Yeah.
So next, naturally, we have number 3, UCF, which reached the semis in the NIT, and they do return Taco Tuesday fall, and who is 7'6". and they have 3 starters back from last year's 24-win squad. So I think deservedly so, they got the number 3 spot. I would be hard-pressed to justify why they should be any lower than that.
Yeah, I agree, man. This is going to be pretty interesting. Taco Fall, they killed it. UCF killed it last year. It's hard to say, but they killed it last year when they were in the NIT. And Taco Fall, for the last, amount
2 years.
2 years that he's been there, has, his first year was super raw, and then last year had some spurts of genius, and then finally, sort of at the end of the guy's a block machine. We're gonna be. Oh, yeah. It's gonna be tough to beat them guys, and people. I don't know that I put them at number 3 in my rankings, but I can certainly see why people are saying that they would be, and they're gonna be a tough team to play, and it's hard to see UCF being good at basketball and football, but they are.
Next, number 4, we have SMU. They do return their head coach Tim Jankovic. And they did win the conference and regular season trophy last year, so a little bit of a fall, but I think it's because they lost a couple guys.
Yeah,
but I think SMU is going to be tough. Yeah, they're still going to be tough as hell. I mean, nobody thought that they were going to do well last year, and they finished top 3. Yeah. So you can't argue that at all.
Some people did, but in my opinion, this would be my number 3 team. I think they're still going to continue to be legit. I think if you're going to look at teams in this conference that are going to perennially end up staying good, SMU is going to be up there. For whatever reason, somehow the city of Dallas has adopted SMU's basketball. Like their stadium, their games are just packed all the time. Their students actually show up to these games as opposed to their football games. And it's a beautiful, beautiful environment to go to. They have probably one of the nicest stadiums that I've been to. They have this awesome sideline bar area, which is just incredible. I wish we had that. But SMU is going to be legit. We're going to have to be really worried about them. And, as this goes, they're a team to watch. I would bet that they're probably going to make it, in that 3 spot.
Next, number 5, UConn. They do return 3 starters from last year, all who were injured. So I think they're due for a little bit of a resurgence. But we'll see if they can avoid the injury bug unlike last year.
Yeah. So last year UConn started out with a terrible loss. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, but it was it was national TV. Everybody was sort of talking about it very beginning of the year, and it was UConn was ranked, and they just sort of flubbed it from there. Like you mentioned, dealt with a bunch of injuries. And, this is going to be a good team. I think this is the deserving spot. In fact, I would put them at 6 personally. Or, I think the 5 is fair. That's where I'd go.
Okay. Next, U of H at the 6th spot, like we talked about, 72 points. I think for now, I'm okay with that. Yeah. I don't know a big drop off for us from last year outside of Dotson.
Yeah.
But I think this is more of a wait and see approach with us at number 6.
I definitely agree. We have so many new players that are on the team. There's going into the season without knowing a whole lot, which these guys don't necessarily do. They don't know the congealing. I really hate to use the scraps thing, but for the first 2 years, Samson really was working with some scraps. And I think we have better athletes than we have ever had on this team. Personally, I would like to see U of H at the 4 spot behind SMU at number 3, with Wichita State and Cincinnati in their respective places. And then, switch this sort of around. I'd still have UConn at number 5, but I'd swap us, and I think UCF is deserving of the 6th spot, personally. But, the other people have more faith in UCF than I do.
Next, number 7, Temple. They do return 70% of all of its minutes and points from last season. But Temple's not, like we were talking about off air, Temple's not the same Temple of a couple years ago where they were just running roughshed through the Big East.
Yeah.
I don't know if how well they're gonna do this year, but for some reason they're at number 7, and I tend to believe that that's kind of where they're gonna end up.
I am actually right there with you. So I think that Temple can go 2 different ways. I do think when them, just like Tulsa, who we're about to talk about, are returning that many starters, there's going to be a lot and a lot of chemistry. And those are the tough teams to beat, especially on the road. And, I think Temple is going to be one of those sneaky teams they're going to be tough to deal with. And I will take a Temple win every day because I honestly, they're a legit squad. I don't think that they're a top 5 squad, but they're very good. Okay.
Number 8, like you just mentioned is Tulsa. They returned 75% of their minutes and 77% of all its points from last year. So, but Tulsa's never been one of those badass basketball teams except for 1 or 2 years in Conference USA. So I think 8's right about right for them.
Yeah, Tulsa's one of those weird teams that has always sort of been like a farm league for like completely ridiculous coaches, and they always have an above average team. I don't see Tulsa being in the bottom half of the conference. They're at 8. I don't know. Our conference in basketball, guys, is so good, minus like literally 3 teams.
Yeah.
Like this is the best. This is the best the American has ever been, or
I agree.
Any conference that we've been in has ever been in basketball.
And I'll tell you what, it kind of leads us next into our next guy, number 9, Memphis. Big drop off last year, but they went out and recruited their ass off.
Oh yeah,
and actually finished top 50 nationally with their recruiting class. They're basically a whole new team. But it's one of those that if they get in and they get chemistry and mesh well, they could easily jump in there in the top top quarter of the league.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Memphis is my sleeper team for the year. If you could call Memphis a sleeper, Tubby Smith is legit, and I think they're going to be really good this year, honestly. They're gonna surprise a lot of people. Obviously, everybody thinks, if you're a UH basketball fan for only 5 or so years, you might think that Memphis hasn't been that good recently, but Memphis is a national powerhouse historically, and it's just a matter of time until they get back up there. The FedEx Arena is a really nice place. And,
absolutely.
They fill that pretty often. So Memphis is a team I like. I personally would much rather see Memphis at number 2 and UConn and other than Wichita State as a brand, but Wichita State kicks ass in basketball, so I can't really say anything.
Agreed. Number 10, Tulane. Only returns 2 starters from last year, but they do have 2 players from the French national team. Tulane's never been a big basketball team, but it's one of those that I think you're going to have to respect and not just think that they're going to roll over and you're going to beat them every day. I think that's kind of what UCF was last year. We thought, it's UCF. Well, they went in there and run roughshod and whooped almost everyone's ass in the conference. So I think we do have to respect Tulane, but I think they will be one of the easier teams to beat this year.
I agree. And normally, Tulane, unfortunately, like in most respects, like in football, is always sort of at the bottom of the barrel as far as basketball goes. But for whatever reason, they always play us very tough, and I think that's because a lot of Houston guys go down and play in Tulane, and so they end up coming back. There's always a pretty decent crowd whenever they come to the Hoff. And, when the home game will be scrappy, I don't think we'll have any issues playing over there. And so far, I think we've won almost like an absorbent amount of the percentages of when we're playing there. So I'm not too worried about them.
Next, we have number 11, ECU. They returned 3 of their 4 top scorers from last season. Those 3 alone combined for 50% of their points. So that's one of those, if they get 1 or 2 more pieces of the puzzle, it can be really tough to beat, especially at ECU. I think they've got a lot to prove, but I think they're going to be a good team this year. I don't think they're going to be absolutely terrible like their ranking right now shows.
Yeah, I think ECU is pretty hard to be worse than last year. They were absolute trash. And
oh, yes, they were bad. They were bad.
Do I think this spot is deserving? Probably. Looking up and down on the schedule. But that being said, they're not going to roll over, guys. The only team I see rolling over is 12th place.
Yeah, that's USF. They did hire a new coach from Dayton, Mr. Brian Gregory, and they got 3 grad transfers. They're going to be a project team. They could mesh a little bit, cause a little noise, but I don't think they're going to do well enough to get up there and jump into the top half of the league this year. They've just got too much new blood, a new coach. It's kind of like Samson, what he had to deal with a couple of years ago when he first came in. Pretty much all brand new team, kind of hoping for the best, hoping it meshes a little bit. but I don't think they're going to do anything better than maybe 8 or 9 this year in the conference.
I agree. This is a squad where they're going to come in. They're going to it's basketball. Basketball's like baseball. Anybody can win on any given day. And because of there being so many games, it doesn't necessarily matter, quote unquote, as much every single game. And I definitely think USF will probably be able to go in there and upset someone, one of their the series. But overall, they're pretty much rightly where they belong. And we'll see what Brian Gregory can do with them. So it'll be interesting.
And that, my friends, wraps up kind of where the conference stands as a whole. We're going to jump in and talk the last little segment about the schedule for this year.
Definitely.
There's a lot of games to be played. So we're just kind of projecting right now. Sure. And truthfully, when I originally came up with these notes, my notes said, is this a year of going big or go flat? And I meant by playing at TSU, are we going to be flat? With that said, we came out and run roughshed over McNeese.
Oh, yeah.
So that gives me hope that I don't think we're going to go flat. So, again, to recap, we're playing all games at TSU. Wisconsin. I definitely merged Wichita and UConn. But Wichita State and UConn might play at Toyota or Del Mar. Not too sure just yet.
Right.
I think a few things have to be worked out. The good news is we do have 15 home games in Houston, so that's great, especially with a bunch of newcomers into the squad.
Yeah.
We do get Cincinnati, ECU, SMU, Temple, Tulane, USF, and Wichita State at a home. So I think you're going to have big games against Cincinnati. You'll have big games against SMU. Like you said, a good crowd with Temple.
Right.
And a huge crowd against Wichita State because they're likely going to be ranked probably top 10 by the time they come to Houston. So I think all of those are going to be really, really big games at home. We do get UConn and Tulsa at home, but we do get UCF and Memphis away, which I think are going to be very, very tough.
Yeah, those are going to be tough ones. Overall, do remember, I know it's not a huge crowd, but like 3,800 people ended up making the trip over to TSU to our first game against McNeese, which I'm actually kind of surprised by, honestly.
Oh, I agree.
It sucks, right? We can be frank. It sucks. I hate making a trip over across the other side of Scott Street most of the time, too. You can't just walk across the street anymore. It's kind of a pain in the butt. There's no parking over there. It just kind of sucks. You got to walk, and you got to sit on the bus. And we waited like 35 minutes for a bus last time. Granted, yes, it was the NIT, but it's kind of a pain in the ass. That being said, honestly, it's really not that far of a walk. I would highly suggest park on the outside right next to Scott Street and walk rather than take the bus. Just go straight up. I think it's Elgin that you can take that cuts straight over to the stadium. I would suggest doing that.
I got to disagree with you. I personally would not feel comfortable walking down Elgin at night from Scott to TSU. I am not a fan of that, just being very honest.
Fair.
But I will say, if you don't want to do that, go to U of H, take the bus, and then if you want, hop in an Uber and take it back over. That'll be less than $5, and then problem solved. Or just Uber to the game. You can do that too.
Yeah.
Or take the light rail to the stadium. Problem solved. I mean, it's totally up to you. But
in fact, I actually really like your first one because you're going to get there early enough to get into the game on time. It's the getting out when everybody is leaving. So I would definitely go with that plan and just Uber back. It'll be easy.
Yeah.
Cool.
But a couple things. Let's talk about the non-conference schedule. We cannot shoot ourselves in the foot like we did last year and lose at games like at LSU and Harvard at home. That absolutely killed us in terms of at-large bid.
Yep.
And our schedule sets up pretty well.
We could have been an at-large.
We would have been a bubble team. We would have been probably the last 4 in, which is fine. I'll take that. I'll take getting into getting into the big dance rather than not getting in the big dance and being a 2 seed in the NIT. Any given year, doesn't matter.
100%.
But we already had our first game against McNeese. They are a terrible RPI, so that didn't help us at all. But we did get the win. Final score was 81-53. Armani Brooks came through and led the way with 22 points. So that's got to bode well for your confidence going through the rest of the year.
Oh, very impressive. And he 8 for 11, which is really good. Wes Vanbeck ended up getting 14, but his shooting percentage wasn't so hot from three-pointer, 3 for 7 there. Corey Davis is going to be our guy at point guard pretty much. And then you've got Breon Brady, who went in. Freaking, this dude's a monster. 10 rebounds. Like, I can't say anything else. Now, granted, yeah, we were playing McNeese, but we also beat this team 81-53, and Rob Gray wasn't even playing. And that's where I was getting at earlier. Our squad is good enough without Rob Gray. The fact that we have Rob Gray is what I think is our definitive factor really going in. And, possibly I think we could pull one away from Wichita State and one away from Cincinnati. We can almost always do it, and that was with lesser talent.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm really excited about that. Overall, Cougs win. That's always good.
Yep.
And then I'll let you lead us on.
Yeah, so this week we start the Paradise Jam, which is not going to be down in the Virgin Islands. I think that's where it was. It's now going to be held in Virginia due to the hurricanes.
Yeah.
So we're going to play Drexel on Friday. Their RPI is 213. After that game, we'll either play Mercer, which is 105 RPI, or Liberty, 180 RPI. And Liberty actually was in the CIT, which I think is the third tournament.
They were in the quarterfinals.
I think the third tournament. So they made the quarterfinals of that last year. And then if we win that one, then we play whoever for the championship, which we won our little tournament last year, which is the first time we've done that in many, many years. So, I mean, I think we have the talent to compete and win this championship for this little Paradise Jam, to be very honest with you.
Oh, definitely. If we did not win this, I would be walking away extremely disappointed, and it's going to be terrible for the RPI.
Oh, absolutely. So, and then after the Paradise Jam, we get to come back and play in beautiful TSU. We're going to play, University of New Orleans, or Incarnate Word.
Yeah.
They have a 245 RPI. It's an FCS school in the Southland. I don't think we're going to have any problems with that whatsoever. No. It'll be a game just like McNeese. I think we're going to see a couple guys get a little bit more minutes than they normally would, just to kind of keep everybody's legs fresh and kind of mix and match. We're still trying to figure out who our starting squad is.
Exactly.
What 5 guys, what 7 guys really, kind of mesh the best. Like you said earlier, it's not about the 5 guys that start. It's the 5 guys that finish. And we're really going to try and figure that out before we get in the meat of our out-of-conference schedule and figure out which guys that we want on the floor 2 minutes left with the game on the line.
100%.
Next, we'll have University of New Orleans come to town. They have the 275 RPI, but they were in the first four last year in the NCAA tournament. So that'll be a good little squad to come in. They'll bring a few fans to the TSU arena. Next, we'll have Arkansas at home.
Which I'm excited about.
Yeah, that's a good squad. They made it to the round of 32 last year. They currently have a 37 RPI, so that'll be a huge boost if we can beat them. That'll only bode well and help our conversation at the end of the year when we're comparing resumes with other guys, saying, hey, they've got a top 50 RPI win versus a top 50 RPI loss, which is what we had last year with Harvard.
Right, and that was a win that we could have easily gotten, and then just completely flubbed it when the injuries happened and the team sort of looked like they just fell apart because we didn't really have any solid big guys when Devin Davis really couldn't play anymore, and then that's where we started to see our woes, if you will. So, I'm pumped about this. If you're a Coug fan and you're not at this game, shame on you, honestly. It's gonna be sick.
I agree. Next, we'll have Fairfield come to town. They have a 211 RPI. They were a CIT first round. Yeah. That's not really going to move the needle. But again, it's one of those like, hey, let's get out there, get the W, but mix and match some things, kind of see where we stand, see who's meshing, who's got a hot hand, see, kind of let's play around with it before we're going to get into the chunk of the schedule, which is going to be the conference schedule.
Right.
We'll go play at St. Louis, which is a 164 RPI. Doesn't really move the needle, but maybe they get a little bit better by the time we end up playing them.
Sure.
We'll play at LSU on December 13th. They're 80 RPI. That's an SEC team. I went to the game last year.
Yeah.
They have a good crowd. They've got a good team. They had a young team last year, and we ended up losing that game stupidly. We should have not lost that game at all last year.
No.
Unfortunately.
That was a really unfortunate one. That was a heartbreaker. That was kind of like, okay, we could have been really good, and then that happened, and that
not so much.
That showed like we really knew how to shoot ourselves on the foot this last year. But I think one of the things we need to keep in mind on here too is that you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams on this out-of-conference schedule. You might think, New Orleans, Fairfield, who are these schools? It doesn't really matter. But they're playing in postseason ball.
Yeah,
and exactly. Don't get me wrong. I'd much rather schedule Texas Tech or Baylor or those kind of guys, maybe not at the top tier of the conference, but Baylor is this year, but you know what I mean, bottom of the barrel Big Ten or ACC schools. I would totally want to see that happen, but I think we've still got to work on our out of conference schedule and get wins so that we can make some stuff happen.
Well, here's the hoping that with a lot of these away games and the schedule we have next year with a new stadium, I think we're going to have a much, much, much better out-of-conference schedule next year.
Oh, definitely.
And really trying to pack that place every single game throughout out-of-conference and conference schedule next year.
Oh, whew. I'm so hyped. You have no clue, dude. It's going to be freaking amazing. The Cougs are way deserving of this, and it's been way too long.
I agree. And then our last 2 games we'll round out. We play Prairie View A&M, another one of those, hey, let's just mix and match and stay healthy and get a W and get some guys some minutes that may not get minutes in the conference to provide that depth just in case something does happen. I don't want it to, but you never know. It's basketball. I mean, this is college sports. Anybody can go down.
Exactly.
And then our last out-of-conference game will be at home on December 20th. Against Providence. They're currently at 24 RPI, which can be a huge win for us.
I'm very excited, actually, for this game.
Yeah, they were a NCAA First Four last year, so again, another postseason team. I think if we can, truthfully, let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Go 12 or 13 games. If we can go 12-1-ish, 11-2, I think we'll be sitting very, very nice and catch a lot of guys' eyes going into the conference tournament. I think we can't really afford 3 losses in out of conference this year, to be honest with you.
Agree.
If we're trying to make an at-large bid.
I completely agree. I will give us now. Granted, I do think we can still beat these teams. I will take a loss for Arkansas and a loss with Providence. But the good thing is they're at home, and we win a lot of games at home, guys. So, Houston fans are loud, which is awesome. No, we're not going to be in the Hoff anymore. It's not going to be as loud as it was in there. But I feel like that gives us good chances. The 2 best teams that we play in out of conference are going to be at home. So we're going to have a good crowd. It's going to be lit. And I'm honestly really excited, man.
I totally agree.
3 this is a better out of conference schedule than it really appears to be. Arkansas, LSU, and Providence are all 3 big-name schools, and, that's better than we had last year, the year before that, where we really only had 1 or 2. So, steady improvement, I think, from Coach Sampson, and while it may not be as exciting, we're still not P5 yet, so keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm. And then do you have any final thoughts on this year's? We'll just give last couple final thoughts, and then we'll let y'all guys go.
Sure, man. I think this is hands down from what's the eye test? This is the best basketball team that we have seen since Pender's days. I think we're gonna win more games than any of those times. But at the same time, we're playing in the most difficult conference than we have. Where in a world where Memphis and UConn are not your number 1 and your number 2, that's pretty crazy. Cincinnati is a hell of a basketball team. Wichita State is going to be freaking badass this year. But I think we've got the tools that we can sort out. Obviously, there's a lot of new guys on this team. It's going to take a while to gel and mold. But if we can already go out and win by, 22 points or something like that, without Rob Gray, that keeps me 30 almost 30 points, 28. Yeah. If we can do that without Rob Gray, I am very comfortable with the way we go, because when you start looking at it, we're deep where we haven't been deep. We don't have, and I'm sorry, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but we don't have Xavier Dupree sitting on the bench. We don't have Kyle Meyer as our starting center basesically. We don't have guys like Dupree, who we didn't even mention, who was on the team, and we didn't really, Dunnigan, who was on the team, didn't really do a whole lot much. So it's going to be interesting, and I think this is a team that I think realistically can finish in the top 3 and go. And I know I've said this before, and maybe I get a little too excited and put my Cougar goggles on, but I do legitimately think that we can be a top 3 team in regular season and perform well enough in the conference tournament that we will get looks at being a bubble team. Or just getting a bid outright. If we can go in there and we can, get one over Wichita State and we can get one over Cincinnati, then that's saying a lot. And especially if we could roll in out of conference, which I definitely think we could do, and we should definitely win the Paradise Jam. All these games, I don't have any questions saying that we shouldn't be able to beat them. Arkansas is the scariest team to me in Providence. So it's going to be a hell of a season. Guys, come out. Remember, I don't want a dog going over to TSU too bad to scare you guys away, but it's going to be fun. This is going to be the best basketball team that we've had in a long time. And you want to be able to make sure you can see it so next year when we're in the Fertitta Center, you're not a bandwagon fan.
No, I agree.
But I welcome all those bandwagon fans. Please come up and show and scream.
My final thoughts will be much shorter, and that's purely because I'm a casual fan. Basketball is not my forte.
Sure.
You'll hear my thoughts way more in depth on baseball. But when I look at the schedule and I look at the guys who return and I look at the guys that we add, a part of me has to say, okay, that's at least 20 wins, probably 25 wins, maybe in a few more if these guys can mesh. And guys like Fabian White provide good minutes. Guys like, Davis go off. He makes a great, a great acclimation into NCAA. Chris Harris comes in and provides huge starting time and that really develops. I think this year can be really special, even if it is, quote unquote, a flat year with playing at TSU. I think we could really make some noise, especially in conference. I think NCAA might be a little bit of a stretch, maybe. I think we're more of an NIT team, one or two seed in NIT. But with that said, anything can happen throughout the regular season, and we can come in and mesh, and Rogre goes off, Davis goes off, Beck, all those guys go off, and we have a great year. So, truthfully, my little last final thoughts, let's make it a good year. Let's have good support. If 3,800 people are our floor, I'll take that for a quote-unquote flat year.
Right.
And I'm really, really looking forward to the Fertitta Center next year.
Awesome. Cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's about it. Guys, show up. We have our next home game on
Black Friday. 11 a.m. Just got announced today.
Yes. So we'll see you guys there. And I was meaning the
for basketball. I apologize.
But that's going to be the 25th for Incarnate Ward. So let's up on San Antonio teams because, And then I think that's it. So, guys, remember, if you like the video, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you're on iTunes or on the YouTubes, whichever one you prefer. Remember to check us out. Yeah. We have a group called Shock the World Army on Facebook. If you search it for it and ask to join, we'll go ahead and add you. So basically, our closest knit fans that we can all sort of talk together and post and make sure that you guys get the updates when everything goes up. And that's when we do a lot of fan questions. It's been kind of a weird week where we're combining episodes and we're doing a standalone basketball episode, but we're really excited to bring some more fan questions on, especially starting next week. So I think that's it for basketball. We're going to have a hell of a season, and I think that's about it. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
Wow. See y'all next week.